Hello guys, welcome to a new video. In this video we're gonna review Canon 70D camera. So here is how this camera looks like, and this camera is almost 9-year-old. This was launched in 2013. So can we get great results with this camera even in 2022 or beyond? Let's find out guys. If you haven't subscribed to my channel yet, subscribe to the channel and don't forget to press the notification icon. So as I already told you, this camera is 9-year-old. This camera features a 20 megapixel sensor and this is a crop sensor camera. So this has 1.6 times crop factor, and this was one of the first DSLR from Canon that had this famous dual pixel autofocus. This camera also have a flip out screen, which is a touch screen, so you can touch anywhere on the screen to focus. So this makes it a great camera for vlogging and making videos for the YouTube. This camera can shoot full HD videos. So full HD video still can be good choice. You can oversample them to 4K and still upload them to YouTube. So this is a great camera for content creator. If you want to make videos like me on YouTube, so then this is a great camera to start with, because this camera also has a built-in microphone port. So you can connect an external microphone onto, because this camera has a microphone input port, so you can connect external microphone on this camera, which is a great option if you want professional audio. If we look at the photography aspects for this camera, the ISO range for this camera goes from 100 to 12,600, which you can expand up to 25,600. So in low lighting situation, this is still a very good camera. It can take really nice photos even in low lighting situation, and also in terms of video in low light it performs really very well. And the frame per second on this camera is really remarkable. It can shoot 7 frames per second, so you can use this camera if you want to do some sports photography, some action photography. It is still a great choice. The autofocus system on this camera is really good. Even in photography it has 19 autofocus points, and in photography it works really well. It nails the focus most of the time, and if you are using the live view, it uses the dual pixel autofocus, so it tracks your face very easily. So even if you are moving here and there and up and down, it will track your face both in the photos and also in the video. And the weight of the camera is around 750 grams. It is a heavy camera. The body is weather sealed. The only drawback is that it has only one card slot, and the card slot is not UHS 2, it is a UHS 1. So it is slightly slow compared to the UHS 2 card, but still for the kind of price for which you can get this camera, it is still a very good camera, because you can get this camera for around $300 US, which is a great bargain price for the kind of features that you get in this camera. This camera also features Wi-Fi, so you can pair this camera with your smartphone and then control this camera using your smartphone. Beside that, it has a top LCD screen, so you can see all your settings on this. It has a top dial to change like aperture, shutter speed, and then it also has another dial on the back. So it has dedicated buttons and dials for everything, and it feels great in your hands. When it comes to the dynamic range, that is one thing that is not that great about this camera. The dynamic range is only 11.2, so this is not the best camera if you want to take high dynamic range photos, but this camera offers you exposure bracketing. So using the exposure bracketing, you can take multiple shots at different exposure and then later on combine them in Lightroom to make HDR image. So that is a great feature that this camera has. Now I'm gonna put onto the screen some of the sample photos that I've taken with this camera, and all these photos that I took were using the 50mm f1.8 STM lens, and also the video that I took was using the STM lens. And believe me guys, the photos look really nice. The colors, the contrast, and the image directly out of the camera, even without any editing whatsoever, looks really nice and stunning. So I would say even in today's time, when it comes to photography, you can do professional work with this camera. You can get great results even with this camera, and you can see for yourself how nice the photos looks. Now I'm gonna put onto the screen the video that I took with this camera. As I already told you, the autofocus works awesome in the videos. Dual pixel autofocus tracks your face, tracks your subject very easily, doesn't hurt, doesn't make any focus noise, especially if you are using the STM lens. Hello guys, this is the audio that you are listening from Canon 70D, and you can already see how nice the video looks. I am using 50mm f1.8 STM lens, and this camera have dual pixel autofocus, so the focusing is very silent and the focusing is very fast. It doesn't hunt and it makes no noise when you want to autofocus from one point to another. If you want to make a YouTube video, this is a very good camera for that, because it will track your face very easily. And for example, right now I have put the autofocus on this duck and it is trying to track this, and the dynamic range is also very good. So right now you can see that I am having really very bright sunlight, but it is able to perfectly maintain the exposure. And I will show you what kind of detail and the sharpness you can get from this. So the bark of the tree, you can already see you have so much details into this. And right now I'm focused on these leaves, and you can see they are perfectly in focus and they are being tracked and they look very sharp. So overall, this camera is a very good camera when it comes to video making, and you can make very good cinematic videos using this. You can get great results with this camera. So you can see the sharpness, the duck look so beautiful in the video. This is one of my favorite camera when it comes to the video making. This was the first Canon camera with dual pixel autofocus. After this 80D came, but this camera is very cheap to get even today, and you get great results even with this camera. Even the low light performance of this camera is very nice. Now I'm gonna show you how this camera actually looks. So from the back, the camera looks like this. So this is that dedicated dial which you can rotate. If you are in the AV or TV mode, you can adjust the exposure compensation using this dial, and if you are in the fully manual mode, you can turn this around to change the aperture. And from the top, this looks like this. So it has a dedicated LCD screen where you can see all your settings. Beside this, you have dedicated buttons for metering, for the drive mode, and also for the ISO and for the focusing as well. So you can change the focus modes and everything just by pressing the button and moving around the dials. Then we have this dial on the other side, and this dial have a small lock button, so it will not rotate unless you press the button in the center. So sometimes you can accidentally change the mode, so it will not allow that to happen because of the lock in the center. And this screen is a 3-inch screen, and it's a touch screen, and you can rotate it in any direction, which is a great feature. And on this side, you can connect this to mini HDMI port if you want to connect it to a TV, and you also have the USB port as well. Beside this, you have this microphone input port as well, so you can connect an external mic over here. And then on the other side, you can put your SD card over here. If you see it from the bottom, it looks like this, and it has a really very big battery, and the battery lasts really long. If you charge the battery fully, it will easily last for 1000 photos, and for the video, easily up to 90 to 120 minutes video. Now the final question, guys, should you get this camera right now? Is this camera still relevant? Well, that's for you to decide. If you look at the photos and the videos that I took from this camera, I would say even in 2025 this camera would still be relevant, because the autofocus is great. You don't have to buy an expensive mirrorless camera just to get the best autofocus, because even with this camera you get really good autofocus both in the photos and also in the videos. Especially in the video, you have really nice autofocus, and the build quality is really solid. You can get cheaper DSLR lenses and use with this, and you can start making cinematic videos using this. Even in low lighting situation, this performs great, and the kind of price you can get this camera for just around $300 US, this is a no-brainer. You can still get this camera and start making videos for YouTube or cinematic videos, and you can also do professional photography work using this camera. So I can definitely recommend you this camera in 2022. It ticks all the boxes for most of the people. But if you want something latest and greatest, then of course you can put in more money. You can put in $1,000 and get the latest mirrorless camera, guys. Alright guys, I hope you liked my review and this video. If you liked it, like and share it, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel and press the notification icon. I will see you in a new video.